Hi. Okay, so what we're going to do in this session is we are going to pull the polity data from the web and we are going to clean up its missing values. If you haven't done so already, I'd like you to run all the code that we ran in the first and second videos. So you can download the do file from Elms if you haven't done so already. And I want you to run all the code starting with importing the Gleditch 2008 data up through saving that as a file called pop. So I'm going to do that right now. Run that code and save the Gleditch data as pop. Okay. Right now is we are going to pull the polity data from the web. I'm not going to go over the commands for doing that because that's covered in the first video. If you have any questions, you can review the first video, but just note that the code we're using is exactly the same as with the polity data. It's just as with the Gleditch data, it's just that the variables are polity variables and the link is to the polity data. No surprises there, and we are also dropping the first observation because the first row in the matrix of the polity data is not actually data. I'm not going to go over the variables we're importing in detail, but I'm just going to draw your attention to the polity variable, which if you haven't encountered in your work thus far, you will, I'm sure. The polity variable is just a ordinal variable going from -10 to 10, including 0, so it's a 21-point ordinal scale that measures the degree of institutional democracy in a country's political institutions. -10 reflects sort of a, quote, perfect autocracy, maybe North Korea or the Soviet Union under Stalin, whereas 10 captures perfect institutional democracy, which might be the United States in modern times and Japan and so forth. So you can imagine a lot of different research questions you might examine that involve perhaps a country's political institutions as either an independent or a dependent variable. So this is probably a data set and specifically a variable that you're going to want to familiarize yourself with on your own time. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to pull that data from the web. And you'll notice that the Gleditch variables disappeared, and now we have the polity variables here. That's okay because we already saved the Gleditch data as a file called pop. So we're going to be able to use that later for the merge. But that's why saving that data is an important step, because we've sort of right now in Stata's short-term memory we have the polity data and the Gleditch data has been read out. So we have imported the polity data. And what we want to do now is deal with the missing values in the polity data set. Polity and most data sets code missing values as -99. Now, if we're dealing with a dichotomous variable, a -99 is very different from 0. 0 means we don't observe the effect that a 1 signifies. -99 is we don't know if it's a 0 or a 1. We're not able to observe it. Polity goes a step further because remember they're dealing with political institutions. So they have -99, which reflects a true missing value, meaning we can't observe a country's political institutions. Think of a country like Somalia or so forth. But they have other types of missing values. You'll see -88, -77, -66. I encourage you to review the polity codebook and learn about these on your own, but basically they reflect different kinds of political transitions, so revolutions, coups, civil wars, in which we don't know what the state's political institutions are because they're undergoing a period of change, or in the the polity terminology, interregnum, but there's something systematic about that missing value. It's because of a revolution or a coup or some type of intrastate military conflict. So polity disaggregates the missing values. However, in terms of Stata, that's problematic because we can't run our regressions, our analysis with missing values coded as 2-digit integers because Stata is not smart enough to know that they are missing values. We need to recode these integers as Stata terminology for missing value, which is a period. So that's what we're doing with this code right here. So I'm just going to copy that and take this over to the command window. And this just illustrates how this is a very important step. When you're working with a data set, you need to fully understand what missing values are coded as. And if they're coded as integers like this, they need to be recoded as periods before you start doing analysis, because otherwise you're going to get some very strange results that are driven entirely by some sort of coding nomenclature. All right, so there certainly is no shortage of missing values. We can see that while there aren't that many straight up missing values in the polity data, there's quite a few missing values that come from political transitions, so it's very important that we recoded those. Okay, so we now have successfully cleaned up the data in terms of missing values. So what we're going to do now is just save this as polity. Again, you could name it something else if you want. And remember, the replace option is just overwriting any other data in your directory that's named polity. So you want to be careful about using that. But we're just going to save that right now. So now we have in our directory, we have a file named pop and a file named polity. The next step is to merge those two together, which will be what we do in the fourth video.